You feel like you never fit in. You carry a sensitivity that no one understands. You observe more than you speak, feel more than you show. You live with a certain weight in your chest, as if there is something too great inside of you, trying to awaken. This is not an exaggeration. It is a sign. You are a chosen one. And it is not me who is saying this. It is life that has been showing you this in the details, in the rejections that seemed unfair, in the doors that closed even when everything indicated success, in the moments of loneliness when, deep down, you knew, God is still with me. The chosen ones are not those whom the world applauds. They are those whom God hides, shapes, and prepares in silence. And when the right time comes, nothing can stop it. No opinion, criticism, rejection, or envy can hinder what has been written by God about your life. In this video, I will show you 7 ways that God defines a chosen one. Not as the world defines, but as heaven recognizes. And perhaps, as you listen to each of them, you will realize everything you have been through was preparing you to live exactly this moment. Stay with me until the end, because this message is not just content. It is direction. If at the end you feel that this word resonated with you, subscribe to the channel. Here we talk to those who have been set apart by God, not by the crowd, but by the mission. Because those who are chosen know. You cannot live like everyone else, because God has called you to something much greater. Being chosen by God is not about merit. It is about purpose. God does not look at the resume, appearance, or past. He looks at what He Himself planted inside you before you were even born. When God chose you, He already had a specific mission that only you can fulfill. You may not understand the magnitude of this right now. You may feel small, inadequate, or even lost. But God does not err in His choices. He did not call you for no reason. If He set you apart, it is because He has something greater in store to happen through your life. Purpose comes before performance. It is not about how much you know. It is not about how much you have. It is about how much you are willing to trust and walk with Him. The chosen one is not defined by what the world says he is, but by what God has already declared about him. And the truth is, you carry something divine, even if you have not realized it yet. God does not expect you to be perfect. He expects you to be available. It is in the willing heart that He pours out revelation. Many are too busy trying to prove something to the world, while the chosen one simply surrenders to the process. Those who understand the purpose do not compare, they just follow. That is why some paths close, because God knows that, to fulfill what He has prepared, you cannot be distracted by what is not part of the plan. When He separates you, He also protects you. Sometimes you do not understand now, but you are being directed to something much greater. Divine purpose has a perfect timing. It may seem like it is taking too long, but it is just because God is preparing you. He knows exactly when to activate each gift, each opportunity, each person. And when everything aligns, what was silence turns into testimony. The chosen one learns to trust even when he does not understand. When Jeremiah heard that God knew him from the womb, he was afraid. He thought he was not capable. But God answered, "Do not say, I am only a boy." Purpose does not depend on your age, your history, or your experience. It depends on God's hand upon you. If you have been feeling an inner calling, a sensation that something greater is about to happen, do not ignore it. This is God activating the purpose He has already written. Even if no one recognizes it yet, heaven already does. What is inside you was placed there by the Creator Himself. You have not been forgotten. You have been set apart. You are not lost. You are being positioned. When you understand this, anxiety fades away. You stop chasing after things and begin to walk with purpose. And the best part, everything starts to make sense gradually, in the right time, with the peace that comes from above. Your existence is not accidental. Every pain, every weight, every door that did not open, everything has a reason. God is building in you the foundation for something that will impact other lives. And when the moment comes, the world will not just see you, it will feel the presence of God through you. God is not impressed by appearance, fame, or titles. He does not choose based on what the world values. God's gaze goes beyond masks. He sees the heart. A pure, sincere, and humble heart holds more value in heaven than any outward achievement. And that is why some are chosen in silence. A pure heart is not a perfect heart. It is the heart that recognizes when it errs, that repents sincerely, that bows to the will of God. David was an example of this. He made mistakes, sinned greatly, but never lost his broken heart. That is why God kept him as a man after his own heart. Many people try to impress God with good deeds, beautiful speeches, spiritual appearances. But God is not deceived. He seeks those who are genuine inside, even if they are still under construction outside. The pure heart may not know everything, but it is willing to learn, to listen, and to obey. Being chosen is not about perfection. It is about intention. God sees what no one else sees. While the world judges by appearances, God examines thoughts, motivations, and the deepest intentions. That is why simple, humble people, and even those rejected by men, are raised by God in surprising ways. A pure heart is one that refuses to harbor resentment, even when it has reasons to do so. It is one that chooses to forgive, even when wounded. It seeks to please God, even in silence. It is in secret that this heart is shaped. And that is why, at the right time, God exalts it publicly. The chosen one is tested in situations that reveal what is within the heart. Sometimes you will be ignored, rejected, or misunderstood. But God is there, watching if you remain whole. If you still pray for those who hurt you, still honor even without applause, still love even without return, you have a pure heart. The pure heart stands out because it does not act out of self-interest. It serves because it loves. It helps without expecting anything in return. It remains steadfast even when no one sees. And it is this type of heart that God raises, anoints, and uses to touch other lives. Because He knows this heart can be trusted. Purity does not come from human strength. It comes from the presence of God. The closer you get to Him, the more your heart is cleansed, shaped, and transformed. God does not want you to become hard over time. He wants you to remain sensitive to His voice, His touch, and His movement, even when wounded. If today you feel that you are being tested in the emotional area, in relationships, in the intentions of your heart, do not lose heart. God is aligning you with heaven. He is removing what is false and strengthening what is true. Gold is tested in the fire, and the pure heart shines when everything around darkens. Do not worry about proving anything to anyone. Keep focusing on what matters, your heart before God. Because in the end, it is not the one who screams the loudest who is chosen. It is the one who loves the deepest, even in silence. And if God sees this heart in you, you can be sure. Heaven has already recognized you. Being chosen by God is not about doing great things right from the start. It is about being trustworthy in the small things that no one sees. God observes the behind the scenes of your life. He tests how you act in silence, in routine, in the little, because it is there that character is formed and faithfulness is revealed. Many people want great opportunities, great platforms, great blessings. But they forget that God first gives small seeds. He wants to see if you take good care of them. A faithful heart in small things demonstrates spiritual maturity. It shows that you serve not for visibility, but for purpose. And that is what truly matters to heaven. God works with processes. He does not build great stories overnight. He builds with small bricks, with daily obedience, with consistency. Faithfulness in small things is a clear sign that you are ready for something greater. And God does not fail to honor those who remain steadfast in secret.
Perhaps you are doing something that seems insignificant in the eyes of others. A care, a service, an act of integrity. But God is watching, and it is this that He uses to measure your readiness. Those who are faithful in the little are saying to God, "I can be trusted." And this opens doors that no one can close. Jesus taught that the greatest in the kingdom is the one who serves. It is not the one who receives the most applause. It is the one who is faithful, even when no one is looking. You may be going through a phase where nothing seems significant, where no one recognizes your effort. But if you continue to be faithful, you are being tested and approved. Faithfulness in the little proves that you do not serve for reward, but for love. And God honors this with honor. Before David became king, he was a shepherd in the field, far from the spotlight. But it was there, amidst simple and solitary tasks, that he learned to trust God and be trustworthy to God. Heaven does not invest where there is haste, but where there is consistency. God looks for people who do not give up when progress is slow, who remain steadfast even when the result takes time, who maintain excellence even when no one applauds. Because this shows spiritual maturity, and the mature are those whom God raises at the right time. If you feel forgotten or stagnant, remember this. God is observing your faithfulness. He does not forget what you do with the little. Do not think it is in vain. Every step of obedience, every act of care, every choice of integrity is building something invisible but powerful in the spiritual world. The process may seem prolonged, but it is not in vain. God is not punishing you with delay. He is preparing you to sustain much with wisdom. What He has for your life requires structure, requires roots, requires solidity. And that is why He starts by testing with the simple. Being faithful in small things is a seal of trust. It is the mark of one who is being shaped to carry the weight of purpose. Do not be discouraged for not yet being where you wanted to be. True joy comes from knowing that in secret, you are pleasing heaven. And when heaven is pleased, nothing can stop you. Obedience is an essential mark in the life of the chosen ones. God is not looking for those who just believe, but for those who trust enough to obey, even without understanding. It is easy to follow God's will when everything makes sense. But the true chosen ones demonstrate faith when they obey in the dark, when there are no guarantees, only a voice saying, "Go." Abraham is the clearest example of this. He received an immense promise to be the father of a great nation. But to live out that promise, he had to obey a call without a map, without details. God said, "Leave your country," and he went. He did not question. He did not wait for confirmations. He simply trusted. And because of his obedience, a generation was born. Many times God will ask something that seems illogical. He will command you to leave people behind, change direction, let go of plans. And it is at that moment that the heart of the chosen is tested. Those who obey without knowing the outcome show that they trust God more than their own certainties. And this is rare. That is why it is so powerful. Obedience does not depend on emotion. There will be days when you will feel nothing, understand nothing, but still need to say, "Here I am."
Being chosen is to follow even when tired, to trust even in silence. And every step of obedience brings you closer to the purpose that has already been written about you. Jesus said, "If you love me, keep my commandments." This shows that obedience is proof of love. It is not just a duty, it is a response to the relationship with God. Those who love obey, not out of fear of punishment, but out of respect and trust. The chosen understand that obeying God is aligning with the perfect plan He has already designed. Obeying is not always easy. Many times, it involves sacrifice. But what seems like loss is actually protection. God takes something away not to punish you, but to free you. He sees what you do not see. That is why obedience is never in vain. Even if it hurts, it saves you from things that only He knows. Obedience prepares the ground for the fulfillment of the promise. God does not deliver promises on rebellious soil. He looks for hearts willing to follow, even without understanding. To obey is to say, "God, I trust you more than my own plans." And this surrender attracts heaven's favor in a way you cannot even imagine. If you feel that God has been asking you for something, do not delay. The time for obedience is now. Every time you respond with faith, heaven moves in your favor. Do not fear uncertain steps. Fear only disobeying the voice that wants to take you exactly to the place you have always sought. The chosen ones are not shielded from pain. They are strengthened through it. God never promised the absence of struggle, but guaranteed His presence in every battle. Perseverance is a clear mark of the chosen one. Even when everything falls apart, he continues. Even without understanding, he presses on. Not by his own strength, but because he knows God is still with him. Paul is a powerful example. He was persecuted, stoned, imprisoned, betrayed, and faced shipwrecks. But he never abandoned his mission. He understood that suffering was not a sign of divine rejection, but part of preparation. His faith was not circumstantial. It was rooted in the conviction that everything contributed to a greater purpose, even when it hurt. Perseverance is born when you decide to remain, even without feeling. It is easy to have faith when everything is going well. The hard part is to keep praying when heaven seems silent. But the chosen know that God's silence is not abandonment. It is training. It is like a teacher who remains silent during a test, observing if the student has learned. God tests the chosen under pressure. He wants to see if you give up when things get tough or if you grow. Pressure reveals essence. It shows who is just passing through and who has truly been set apart for something greater. Gold only shines after being tested by fire. Pain has a function. It cleanses, teaches, and strengthens. Do not run from it. Do not feel less for feeling. Even Jesus cried. Even he sweat blood. The problem is not feeling pain. It is allowing pain to define your journey. The chosen learn to use pain as a springboard, not as a prison. Perseverance also reveals maturity. When you insist, even when wounded, you are showing heaven that you no longer live by emotion, but by purpose. God honors those who do not give up. Time may pass, people may forget you, but He never stops seeing those who remain even amidst chaos. The chosen learn to walk with tears in their eyes and faith in their hearts, because they know that what God promised does not depend on circumstances, but on His faithfulness. If you are facing trials, do not think you have been forgotten. You are being shaped. And when it is all over, you will not be the same. You will be stronger, wiser, and fuller of faith. Remember, every trial overcome brings you closer to the purpose. Perseverance is not stubbornness. It is faith in action. And if you are still standing, even after everything, it is because heaven still has something powerful reserved for you. Transformation and service. Do you want to know if you are chosen by God? Then understand this: a true chosen one is not defined by appearance, fame, or social position. God looks at something much deeper: the heart. And two of the greatest signs that someone has been set apart by God are the ability to be transformed and the willingness to serve others. It is not about being perfect. It is about being willing. God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. When He looks at someone, He sees not only what that person is now, but everything they can become with His intervention. Being chosen means entering into a constant process of transformation. It is being ready to be shaped like clay in the hands of the potter. Perhaps you are going through a difficult phase, wondering, why is God allowing all of this? It may be that He is shaping you, polishing you, because He sees a greater purpose in you. God does not waste processes. He transforms pain into wisdom, weakness into strength, confusion into direction. When you allow God to work in your life, you become stronger, wiser, more sensitive to His voice, and more aligned with His will. Another striking characteristic of a chosen one is the willingness to serve others. In a world where everyone wants to be served, God delights in those who lower themselves to lift others. Being chosen is not about standing out, but about giving of oneself. It is placing your heart in God's hands and asking, "Whom do you want me to help today?" The greatest example of this is Jesus Himself. Being the Son of God, He could have come in glory, demanding honor, but He chose to wash the disciples' feet. He chose to heal, listen, walk with the poor and marginalized. He Himself said, "The greatest among you will be your servant." Matthew 23:11. This is not just a beautiful phrase, it is an eternal principle. Often we think that to serve God we need to be on an altar, with a microphone in hand. But serving starts in small things. It is listening to someone who needs to vent. It is helping those who are in need. It is forgiving those who have hurt you. It is lifting up the fallen and being an answer to prayer in someone else's life. God searches for humble hearts. People who understand that true greatness lies in becoming small out of love. The chosen ones know that everything they have received, gifts, talents, resources, is not for their own glory, but for the good of others. They live to build up, bless, and transform the lives of others. And if you are hearing all of this and thinking, "I am not good enough," or "I have so many flaws," know one thing. It is exactly this kind of person that God chooses. He is not looking for the strongest, but for the most available. For those who say, "Here I am." Being chosen by God does not mean having a life without struggles, failures, or pain. On the contrary, it means that you will be constantly refined, tested, and shaped. But it also means that you will never be alone. God walks with His chosen ones. He guides, corrects, comforts, and strengthens. And even when everything seems dark, He is still there, working in silence. Perhaps you are wondering, am I chosen? The answer is not in a feeling or a supernatural confirmation. The answer lies in your willingness. Willingness to be transformed. Willingness to serve. Willingness to say yes to God even when the world says no. Being chosen is more than a spiritual title. It is a daily decision, a constant choice to renounce the ego, silence pride, and say, "God, let your will be done in me." It is a life of surrender, of trust, of service. The chosen do not seek recognition. They seek to fulfill the calling. They do not want applause. They want to be instruments. They know that everything they have and are comes from God. That is why they live with their eyes on heaven and their feet on the ground, with clean hearts and hands ready to serve. Many imagine that the chosen are the holiest or the wisest. But in fact, the true chosen ones are those who most recognize their dependence on God. People who know that without Him they are nothing. People who have fallen but decided to get up and keep going. People who know how to forgive, who love even when not loved, who serve even when tired. You can be that person. It does not matter where you came from, how many mistakes you have made, or what has been said about you. God is not impressed by the past. He moves by your surrender. He knows your heart and sees what no one else can see. He chooses based on purpose, not appearance, based on obedience, not performance. If today you feel a weight, a restlessness, a desire to change and live something greater, that may be God calling you. And if He is calling, it is because there is something reserved for you, something eternal, something powerful. But remember, the path of the chosen is not the easiest, it is the narrowest. It is the path of renunciation, sacrifice, and faith. But it is also the path of eternal reward, the peace that surpasses all understanding, and the certainty that your life will not be in vain. God still calls, and He still chooses. The question is, are you willing to be shaped? Are you willing to serve? Are you willing to be? Because when you say yes to God, everything changes. Your life changes. Your purpose aligns. Your mission is revealed. And you begin to live not just for yourself, but for something much greater.